Welcome to the Ave Podcast, and as you can see, we're repping the home squad today to the fullest. And it's only right because as we reflect back on one of Canada's teams after we spent most of the fall supporting the Blue Jays. Recently, Netflix put out a documentary called Who Killed the Montreal Expos? And it's only right I have a couple of Montrealers to get into this one with. My first guest, I'm going to make sure I read this out correctly, has been a past guest on my show. One of my favorite was during the pandemic when he was on the Code of the Sneaks episode with one of our other friends when we were discussing about the sneakerhead culture. And I also had him on the Last Dance, After the Dance episodes about the Last Dance documentary, the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls one that was on ESPN. He's also an accomplished director, filmmaker, and who will sometimes pop up in front of the camera for a well-branded commercial or two. And in his past life, he would take your ankles, knees, and toes as a point guard for the legendary Sun Youth. Please welcome P.J. Kerr to the show. How you doing today?
What's up, brother? Good, man. Thanks for having me, bro.
Always. And my next guest has also been a past guest on my show. The last one he was on was titled Headley-ish, which was dedicated to one of our homies and one of our dedicated South Shore family members. He's the host of NPR Sunday Story, a host for the NPR App.
Right. I'm a producer
one of
on
my
that.
long-time cherished fantasy football rivals. And he promised me tickets to go see Masha Montano's Tiny Desk performance, only to see him dancing in the background later on YouTube without me. So, I mean, one of those things might not be true. We'll figure it out later. Please welcome Andrew Mambo to the show. How you guys doing? How you doing, Mambo?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I'm still a little bitter about that performance, though. By the way, I ain't gonna lie to you.
Man, it was an amazing Tiny Desk. That was an amazing Tiny Desk. I've been to so many though, but that one was it was hype. It was hype.
It looked it, man. It looked it. It was like I was like, wow, Soka, we made it. We made it.
Hey man, if you would have hopped on a plane, I definitely would have got you in. But you gotta get yourself down to DC, man.
Hey, that is never a problem. It's Chocolate City. It's never a problem. Just let me know what the next performance is. Those NPR performances, Tiny Desk performances are dope, man. I ain't gonna lie. Them shits is always. Who was the last one, by the way? Before we start, who was the last one?
The last one that they released. The last one I saw. I mean, they have them every week, right? So there's I think there was 3 this week, and then there's one tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they have them very often. It's just a lot of artists that you don't, often it's artists that are coming, or artists that are just like indie artists, really specific, like really big artists in different countries. And I love that they just they bring everything together. And if you watch the Tiny Desk feed, you just kind of learn about new artists that you hadn't heard of before, but are absolutely incredible.
Yeah, no, it's a great thing that they're doing. I hope they keep that going forward for at least a long time.
Yeah.
But like I said, man, we're here to talk about the Expos and the documentary. But before we even dive into the documentary a little bit, what were your memories of the Expos growing up? And also, I guess a 2-part question. And then what's your memories of the infamous '94 season? So PJ, I'll start with you with that one. Well, as I get one of my Expos hats on my head. All right, let's go.
Hey.
There you go,
man. My memory of the Expos, man. I loved baseball. I love hearing the Expos play on the radio everywhere we went, and people just being super passionate about it. And I didn't understand how big baseball was until I was way older. All of those moments when I was a kid, and seeing Yuppie. I was talking with my mom about it today, and she was telling my wife that when we were younger, we didn't have a lot of money and stuff like that, right? But we'd be able to, jump on the train for 50 cents, go down, watch, the Expos play, get a hot dog for 75 cents, $1, and play with Yuppie, and it was an experience, man. We're from Colton Edge, man. So when you got a chance to go to the game, it was huge. And my best memory ever was my mother, through work, she was able to get me in the dugout to meet some of the players. Whoa. And I still have it. Shit, I should have brought it out. I have an Expos baseball from '89 maybe with the team. all of them signed the ball for me. And like, I still have that. It's in a little glass case. That was one of the best moments I ever had with baseball and the Expos.
If it's new, you might have to run and get that before the end of the show.
What do you say? I both always speak at the same time. What do you say?
No, I said before the end of the show, you might have to run out and go get it real quick if it's near you. If it's near you. If it's near you. If it's not,
it's in this closet. I just got to dig up some equipment and I can pull it out. I know where it is.
Okay, we'll wait to the end.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Mambo?
No, I was just saying you were having real experiences. Like I was going to the dugout. That's like,
I know
that's a core memory, man. That really impacts you, especially at that age. Like,
100%, man. I can't remember the exact year. That's why I'm messing up the year. But like, I was old enough to remember it, and like old enough to like remember to like keep this ball, and I put it at home on my dresser. You know, and when we left Montreal, it was one of the first things that I packed. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. So I love the Expos growing up, man.
Yeah, man. What about you, Mambo?
I love the Expos too. I mean, I think we all did. Like growing up in Montreal, that was the squad, that was the team. Obviously, you know, we're all Habs fans. Like that was obviously huge. But baseball was a special thing. Like it held a special place in all of our hearts. Mm-hmm. You'd see the games on TV every now and again. It was like, it was cool. It was real cool. And I think like I don't know. It was like the thing of our own. Like the Expos was just like, it was us. It was our team. It was our squad. And I don't know, I remember like going to the game, and it was a special experience. I wasn't in a dugout. I was up in some nosebleeds with my pops, but it was always like a real amazing experience. Often a harsh experience because they weren't like a lot of winning seasons there. I mean, we're gonna talk about '94 at some point, but apart from that, it was a lot of rough games you go to when you went out there.
Yeah,
but it was our team. We rolled with it.
Yeah, it was a home squad. It was a home squad. I remember my pops one time taking me to a game. It's funny. Excuse me. I only been in the Olympic Stadium twice in my life, actually. Once was I don't even know who we went to go see play. It was an Expos game, and surprisingly, we were on the lower bowl, which is like kind of close, like a little bit behind home plate, or I think the away team dugout, which was like that was like amazing because of course the only time you see the Expos was on like the news highlights, from CFC 12. and then afterwards being able to go to a game as a kid, you're like, oh my gosh, like, yo, this is amazing. Yeah. And then the other time was for the World Football Championships or whatever it was, a World Bowl or whatever they had in the early 90s. And I think it was a championship game, and this was my seat and the roof was right here. Like we were like on the upper deck. You know what I mean? So I mean, to be able to go to the Jays, but an Expos game back in the day, like that was, of course, you're a kid, man. That was a big deal. I couldn't. I never went to a Habs game. I never got a chance to go to the Canadiens game. But
there's a different price tag, man. There's a different price tag for a Habs game and an Expos game. You can't even compare the two. They were giving away Expos tickets, man. I mean, they were like, "Hey, please come and see this team play, please."
And we got to fill this ridiculously oversized stadium. Yeah. Please just come.
Right. That was so rough. Like going there. I remember like going, I had nosebleeds and we were like sitting all the way in like practically at the last row. And then we're like, well, we'll just sit a little closer. And then you're like, by the second inning, third inning, you're like, well, let's just go a little bit closer. I mean, nobody's showing up. And eventually you're just like right at the edge. Like I was like, man, we could have just gone downstairs and right behind home plate. It was such a cavernous stadium, man. Especially for a team like, and it makes it like it's hard, right? If you're not able to pull those numbers, like this is the problem that the Alouettes have. Don't want to get off track, but like the Alouettes had this issue when they were playing at the Big O. It was one kind of atmosphere because they couldn't fill it completely. And as soon as they switch and they start playing McGill Stadium, same number of fans crammed in together, the atmosphere completely changes, and like it's a vibe 100%. Suddenly.
Yeah.
But the funny thing that I remember outside of the dugout game, like that one game that I got to go down there, it was for the most part we were in the nosebleeds pretty much every time. But the funny thing is as a kid, I just remember even though we were in the nosebleeds and we were losing, that shit was so fun. It was just so fun, getting out of the neighborhood, doing something different, like being up there with my friends, and like, it was just fun, man. I just remember having so much fun.
And honestly too, like and that's the thing too that we remember. It wasn't, the team wasn't always successful. Like they weren't terrible. It wasn't like they were the worst team in the league, but like they were basically out of it by Labor Day every year, pretty much. Like we knew they weren't going to win. Like the Jays back in the day, because like bless my father, he provided us with cable back in the day, so I was able to catch TSN and watch the Blue Jays and stuff. And the Blue Jays always were like on the cusp, but just could never get over the hump. But meanwhile, we never even got to the hump. We were just out by Labor Day.
Honestly, by Labor Day, I think you're being very generous, Calvin. You're like, I mean, like you're like, yeah, technically maybe they could have won it by Labor Day, but like, yeah, they were. It was often before Labor Day. You knew where this was headed.
Pretty much.
But that was the deal. Like that's baseball though, right? Like baseball is, it's hard to break through. A lot of teams, it's a struggle. But it is fun. Yeah. You see them. I don't remember what game it was. I don't remember what year it was, but I remember going with my dad. We got to see Vlad Guerrero Sr. and saw him like hit a home run. And that's my Expos memory of going to a game. Is like the key memory was like, all right, I got to see Vlad hit a home run. I'm good. Like that's my Expos journey.
It's a good memory to have.
No, and speaking of which, though, when you say Vladdy, I mean, shout out to his son, because man, that was an otherworldly playoff performance, man. Just I know we're getting off track just a little bit with the Jays, but honestly, that was an amazing. That's one of the best performances I've watched, like such a long time of baseball. That was awesome. But the thing with Vladdy too that I remember when you're saying that is like I'm like all like I felt like with the Expos, we were like a de facto farm team for like the other 29 teams in the league. Like the amount of Hall of Famers that left the franchise and went on to become legends elsewhere. Like Gary Carter, friggin' Andre Dawson, who was like an MVP, friggin' Larry Walker, who was an MVP.
Pedro
was like one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Randy Johnson was another one. John Wetland was another one. I used to love Big Cat. Big Cat left. You know what I mean? Who was the other one again? Marquise Grissom.
Marquise Grissom. Yeah, I forgot about him.
Literally the next year after 94, he caught the last out to win the World Series for the Braves. Like this was our story all the time. Like you watch somebody else go and either win a chip or just be a super Hall of Famer or both, in case of like Pedro and Randy Johnson. Half of these guys won trophies afterwards. And it was like every time you saw it was like bittersweet, because you're like, man, they're amazing, but you're like, yo, there was a point in time all these guys they were in the city. Like, why?
But this is baseball, though, man.
You know what I mean?
This is baseball. This is how like baseball is kind of structured, right? I'm gonna try to baseball is structured that way. The poor teams are literally farm teams for the big dogs in Major League Baseball, and it's been that way for how long? Like that's why when you make a big change, Moneyball was like such a big moment. Like the A's were able to like make a run and do something when they shouldn't have been able to do on paper financially. Should not have been able to make it happen, and somehow they made it happen. And and then baseball realigned itself. But like for a brief moment, it's it's still that way. Look what the Dodgers are paying. When's the last time you saw the Orioles in that World Series, bro? So, shout out to Baltimore, but some cities that really they feel that, man. It's a passion sport for real. Because you just watch your best players go. You're like, don't leave me.
And
they're like, pay me. Oh, I can't pay you, but don't leave me.
It's funny because when you look back now, like when you look back at like the 94 team, and we all remember that team, right? Like for you guys, like what was, and I'll start with PJ once again, like what do you think back now? Like, we're thinking all those memories when you was a kid. I'm kind of jealous of your dugout story, but now looking back at 94, what was your memories of that? Because now it felt like, wow, we, and we're all in high school now. So we're experiencing something that's like unique to what, from like people, our generations before us. Like, we're actually not just good, but we could be one of the best.
We're the best.
To be honest, man, I remember the season. I remember the hype in the city. I remember being on the metro, on the bus, wherever I was at. Like, everybody's talking Expos. But the thing that like digs the deepest is I remember the strike.
Yeah.
And I remember the strike happening and like the bitterness that people had towards baseball, towards athletes, towards like money, celebrities, people getting paid. And like, my grandfather, like old school West Indian man, just cussing down the place, greedy people that just want money and don't want to play. Like, so unfortunately, like the negative stigma that came along with that strike is what I remember kind of the most.
Yeah.
But like outside of that, like I just remember like the hype and the celebration around the city. Like, it gave the city hope. There was this hope, like, oh shit, we can actually do this.
Yeah.
And then boom, just like snatched away from us.
It's terrible. And what's crazy too is like you got to remember too, you had the Blue Jays that just won back to back, right?
Yeah.
They just fresh off the second one, and I mean in a legendary way when Carter hit that home run. And then
100%.
in the city, we had the Habs that just literally the year before won the cup and literally tore down Young Street.
Yeah.
Oh, it was almost rest in
Young
peace
Street.
for Sports Fever.
Hey.
They didn't tear up
Young Street, man.
St. Catherine Street.
St. Catherine, my brother.
St. Catherine Street, bro.
Hey, you've been in Toronto too long.
I haven't. Yes. But I always say, it was almost a rest in peace moment for Sports Fever, because I know everybody was gunning for that store back in '93, that when the Habs were winning that cup. But I mean, so it felt like, man, like, yo, the Expos, they're about to have their turn, So this we're gonna be like this, all the chips are gonna be north of the border. Like, this is wild, Well,
it felt amazing that year, man. Like, everybody was caught up in the hype of that. Like, whether you were even watching, I feel like people who weren't even into baseball were like hyped about the Expos because it was just everywhere. Everybody was like, this is gonna be our year. This is gonna be huge. And then as the strike talks like started you remember like that feeling where people were like, nah, they ain't gonna strike. They gonna do it. And then you start being like, no, they're gonna
figure it out.
Not the year, like they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. And then you start being like, yo, not this year. Like, just can y'all just like do this next year? Because this is the one. It really did feel like this is our moment. Like, this is our one chance. We've been waiting so long. Like, this is our one chance. And then, the conspiracy theories start coming up. They ain't gonna let it happen. Or Canada in a small market, Montreal is too small market. They're not gonna let it happen after happened to Toronto too many times. It's America's pastime and all that. And you're like, I wouldn't be surprised if the owners were like, "Hey, man, this is probably a good year. Let's cut this Canadian business out. Cut this Canadian business out real quick, and let's do a strike. Let's cut this season off. Like, we're not having another Canadian champ. Get out of here."
They basically said, "Let's cut this story short."
Yeah.
Let's leave Montreal and Canada with a giant what if.
I know.
But who would have thought that what if would be it? And like, that's it.
But doesn't it feel like that what if like does so much more damage than like if that season had been, if it hadn't been in the chase? Like, it makes everybody feel that there was this moment when if they'd won and the season had kept going, then maybe it turns the tide in terms of getting fans out, building a financial base for this sport and for the team, and the whole like trajectory of the Montreal Expos is completely different. And instead, it's like, everything goes down the way it went down, and because of that shortened season, everybody's just like, but it could have been. So, it's like if they had just not been close all the time and it had never been that 94 blip, like, I don't know, maybe it's easier. The team, like, I don't know, people would have less. I don't know. There's something in that, like, how close the city got to it, that I think really has this like residual pain in the way that we lost the team eventually. It really like echoes the whole way down.
And to your point, right? Because I mean, it's happening here in the city, as me and PJ know here, being in Toronto. Like, I haven't watched baseball in a minute, right? Like, I actually started back watching baseball. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I started back watching baseball in like maybe partway through September because I was like, oh, the Blue Jays, they're still good. You know, you're like, all right, shoot, let me peep in. And then literally by October, I literally was not missing a game, right?
Yeah.
And like the fact that they lost, right? The fact that they lost, it's funny because there's so much people right now that are like, yo, I'm watching the Blue Jays next year. I'm back.
That's exactly.
Like, they got their shirt for this. And so so just in that, like, even if the Expos didn't win the World Series in '94, if they came close, if they made the World Series, if they lost, that might have been enough, right?
Yeah.
That might have been enough.
I agree. I think people like in Toronto, I'm sure there's a real strong appetite and people are going to be into it next year. Maybe you're like, oh, I'm going to go see a regular season game and I'm going to they're definitely going to get paid off of that. Like on the back end, it's built their fan base all over.
1,000,000%.
The crazy thing for me is, I didn't watch baseball for years. And then my son fell in love with baseball. And so my son started playing baseball, and then last year he made the AAA team here, and they asked me to be an assistant coach. So I went on and I was assistant coach on the team, and we ended up winning what's called COBA here, which is like Central Ontario baseball. And then we went on to provincials, and like they're only 8, but like went on to provincials, and we finished 4th in the province. And what's crazy is that, like, dude, I love baseball so much now. And then this season happened with the Blue Jays. It was just like, dude, the connection between my family, like we'd have family parties where we're watching the playoff games and everybody's glued to the TV, dressed in blue. Thanksgiving, we're all wearing blue for Blue Jays. Like the vibe was just it brought the entire city together. And I couldn't help but, think when I was watching all of this happen, I'm like, damn, imagine if like Montreal would have kept the team. Fast forward 15, 20 years later, like what would life be like now if the Blue Jays, if the Expos were still there? But yeah, anyways, just a thought, man.
It's interesting because, like, to be fair to the documentary, like one of the things that they cover well in the documentary is I think the whole like conversation around the stadium and like getting a new stadium. Yeah. And as much as like back in the day, I remember like reading the news and just being younger, like not really understanding a lot of it and just thinking like, well, why do they need a new stadium? Like they should just, this is their plan to like get out of town and be able to sell move the team somewhere else. Is they're going to complain about the stadium because that is like, it's a thing, right? Like that's a thing. It's complain about not having a new stadium. And then if you don't give us a new stadium, we're taking the team somewhere else. And looking back on it, you're also able to see like, the Olympic Stadium, it truly just is not built. It's not built for baseball. It's not like a good venue in that way. And it makes a huge difference in the viewing experience. The viewing experience of being in the game changes the atmosphere. If it's a different atmosphere, you can get people to come because it's a thing to go to. It's an event. It's something that people get pulled into the hype of. And the stadium size, the stadium design, all of that changes everything. Where are you going to go and hang out before and after the game? Like when I go to see a game, I'll go see a Yankees game. Like there's bars all around there. The stadium itself is like wherever you sit, you've got great views. Like it's just built to make it an experience. Going there afterwards, there's all these like bars and restaurants. You can go get a drink or get some food right after the game. Like it's all built around it. And the Olympic Stadium it was like they needed that. Looking back on it, it's like that team was destined to not survive if they did not find a way to turn going to a game into more of an event. And in order to do that, I think they needed a new atmosphere, a new stadium, a new neighborhood.
Yeah, they dropped the ball with that.
One of the things I actually remember about the stadium that I knew we were in trouble was my mom didn't want me going down near the Olympic Park. She's like, I don't want you walking down there when the thing started, when the panels started falling off the stadium. I remember being young, and my mom being like, nah, when you go down there, walk on the other side of the street. don't go near the stadium. That's
But
when I knew we were in trouble.
Remember what was wild about that? Like there were pieces that fall off every now and again. It was like, the roof fell in. But there was that one time when that big, huge slab. They talk about it in the documentary briefly.
The big slab fell down on the street.
It was like a 1 ton or 2 ton slab that just like
that would have killed like 30 people
at 8 in the morning.
That was huge.
Like it wasn't even like it didn't happen at like 2 in the morning. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning. It's a miracle that like nobody was walking around and got killed by that.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. And you're like, we're supposed to go into this building? Like after that, people are like, hey, it's not a big deal.
What
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Building's
That's how I
apart.
knew we were in trouble, man. I knew we were in big trouble when like she wouldn't even want me going down there. I'm like, oh, I'm for damn sure we're not going to any more games.
They're like, just throw some Robitussin on it, we'll be fine. Like that's how they kind of treated it, right?
But you remember how like
we're good.
Do you remember it? Do you remember like the stadium? Like it's like just concrete.
Beautiful.
It was so cold, and the lighting was like it was kind of like dark in the hallways, not in the stadium. Like when you're walking, behind like getting to your seat and stuff like that. It's dark and kind of like really like concrete gray. It didn't have like, it was very functional. I think like, and it was this interesting aesthetic that was like really vibrant in the 70s when it was first built. And then like over time doesn't like feel like
an eyesore.
Like not the, like, it just felt, it's hard to explain. Like, it's just like not a vibrant atmosphere. You feel like you're just in a factory when you're like walking around. It was kind of weird.
I'd say they treated the stadium kind of like the highways. They just let that thing fall apart, man. They just let that thing fall apart, bro.
Quebec maintenance. Quebec maintenance.
That's right.
They treat it like the carry.
They treat it like the 15, man. They just leave it. It'll be fine. Just leave it.
It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Just go around.
Worry about it.
Go around.
Yeah.
Yo, why does Olympic Stadium at this point still exist? Like, it's funny when when Samson broke it down, it's and I know we're gonna get into him in a moment, but it's like when he broke down the reason why the stadium was a mess, we know he wasn't wrong. It's funny because I was saying like the stadium was an eyesore, but it was our eyesore. Like when I was younger, I can, on a perfect day with no clouds in the sky, I can kind of see the tip of the Olympic Stadium from my house. And it was iconic. I was like, yo, this is so cool. You're driving over the Champlain Bridge because I'm on the shore. Driving over the Champlain Bridge, you're like, yo, I can see it. Like that used to be a thing for me when I was a kid. And it still kind of is when I go back home. And I always find myself kind of looking to the right, like, oh yeah, there it is, but it's like, but I mean, generally to your point, it was an eyesore. You know what I mean? When you look back at it, even back then, like compared to stadiums now, it's not even, I mean, Jesus Christ, it's like, it's the worst, but back then it was like, even back then it was dated, but it was still like our eyesore. You know what I mean? It was our drunk uncle.
I mean, I would actually argue that it wasn't necessarily like an eyesore aesthetically from a distance. I feel like it was an eyesore when you got close up. It was like, from a distance, you're like, oh, and you get closer, you're like, oh, never mind. Like, this stadium is a hot mess. Like, looks good from afar, but far from good when you.
It hits me, man. Every time I go to home, when I drive over Mount Royal, leave Colton Edge, drive up Mount Royal, when you come across the hill and you get the lookout and you see, the stadium, and then you come down Mount Royal on the other side of downtown and like you're driving down the park. It's just beautiful. I always love that. It brings back so nostalgic,
It's
iconic,
I mean, once you get there, once you get in, it's a nightmare. But, from like 20 blocks away, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful, yeah. No, it's right. So with that said, like, what do you guys? How do you guys think the film portrayed the emotional impact of the team's desperation and the fans, the players, and the city of Montreal? Like, what did you guys think they did a good job with that?
I'll go. Yeah, I mean, I think like,
sorry, my bad. Sorry, I thought it was a bit of a delay.
I was just gonna wait, man. Go ahead, Mambo.
I was just gonna say, no. I mean, like the movie was. I thought it was really. I thought it was great. I thought like, the characters that they got. Oh, here comes the hat change. All right, Nice.
Switching,
I like
switching
this. This is fly. This is fly.
Clean.
Thank you.
No, the like I think they did a great job capturing the moment, capturing like, you know, a section of the fan base and, you know, the press and all these different angles of it. I felt like a lot of the characters they got were really great. Getting Samson to talk was impressive. Because he doesn't have, I don't know how they got him to talk, but I think like you get the emotion, you get the sense of like what the team meant to people in Montreal. It was smart. Like that was like, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of other different types of fans all over the city, right? So they're only able to capture, or share so much of what that was. But I thought they captured it. I thought they got like, you get a good sense of like how emotional it was, especially, you know, towards the end when like the team is actually leaving and everybody realizes like this is kind of over, this thing that people thought they could save, and, you know, they thought there's a moment when this is, maybe we can save it, maybe we can get a stadium, maybe we can do all these things, and when it comes, you know, reality hits people and it's actually losing, you know, we're actually losing the team. I thought they captured that moment really well.
I thought they did a great job with the story arc in a sense of like, you know, they gave you the idea of the team being like desperate and like kind of pathetic. And then, you know, all of a sudden they have this breakout season, and then the strike happens and they bring the city together. And, you know, what it did for me was it brought me back to being a kid. And when I was a kid, I didn't realize how symbolic it was and how much it meant. You know what I mean? Like that final season and the run they had and like the politics that was happening. I didn't pay attention to all that stuff with the new stadium, and I wanted to play basketball and hang out in the streets and have fun. You know, I wasn't paying attention to all of that. One of the things that I think they could have done that I didn't realize until I watched the documentary was like 95, 94, 95, 96 was the referendum, right? That's when we had like Bill 101, and like Montreal was like separating English from French. And the Expos from the film did a great job of showing how they brought like English and French together. If you look at all the signs the kids and people were holding, some of the signs were English, some of the signs were French. Like it didn't matter. And I think baseball was like the only thing that didn't matter between English and French. I wish they would have explored that a little bit, because I didn't actually think about it until I watched it. But I mean, the emotion that it pulled out of me, like I got sad, man, when I realized like, shit, yeah, the Expos are done. And the guy talked about, you know, not being able to like bring his kids to the Expo game. Like my son is on my mug wearing an Expos jersey. and like, you know, he asked me, he's like, what's the Expos?
That's crazy.
And I was like, I'm like, damn, what's the Expos?
That's
you know
crazy,
what I mean?
Right?
So I mean, I think the film did a really good job on like, you know, pulling on those emotional strings, especially for anybody who lived in that time. I just wish that one element that they would have shined more on with like the referendum, but that's another politics thing. But overall, I give it like thumbs up, man. I think they did a really good job, and they told the story in an entertaining way. They kept me engaged the full time.
Yeah, it was nostalgic for sure. So go ahead, Mambo.
Now I was gonna say it's interesting with the politics, because like so much of that is like that English-French divide that was going on at that time, especially like was especially high at that time. So much of the politics that was happening was this was the issue, right? Of why they couldn't get the support they needed for this team.
Right.
It's because it's like this American sport, right? It's like this whole time period, if you remember, it was like there's all this outside influence. It's coming into Quebec from all the, and they were always worried about like American influence on top of like worried about like English Canadian influence, right? They were worried about the US influence. And this was the thing, like America's pastime here. American players coming and playing here. People are not speaking French. They don't speak, players that don't speak French and all that kind of stuff. It's like it was an issue. It was an issue, and then difficult to get like that support behind it, or like really even grow it in that province, especially at that time. It was interesting hearing the talk about the behind the scenes conversations with these politicians, that like Bouchard was maybe supporting it behind the scenes. There was some negotiations. Bouchard had like that they were like on the verge of something. I still find it hard to believe that they were ever really gonna open the purse strings of the Quebec government to support a baseball team of all things. The Habs, okay, but baseball, I mean, yeah, it's hard.
That one line Bouchard said when he said, "We need hospitals, and you want me to open up a baseball stadium?"
Yeah.
I was like, ouch. Ouch.
Like,
yeah.
You know, it doesn't have a shot. But the sad thing is, again, going back to our earlier point, you know, had the 94 team won the series or went to the World Series, does he still say that? You know what I mean? Just because of the amount of success that would have, and I mean, it would have enriched the economy a little bit too, because people would have been being downtown on St. Catherine every night. You know what I'm saying? Like going to a bunch of restaurants and, you know, being like everywhere, right? Like that would have been more of a thing like that. And we've seen it, like, you know, Mambo, I know you've been in New York for a time, so seeing the Yankees win and, you know, different places, or how the Raptors went in 2019, how that it pumps up the economy, man. Like going to restaurants, and every TV's got a restaurant watching the game, and you know, it's like that. Does he still make that comment had that happened, like, you know, a couple of years before?
Right.
But it's funny when you look at you know, back then you weren't looking at the whole political thing of it, right? But like it plays. I think it was the one thing the documentary misses, how much the English versus French factor plays, as you guys were mentioning about over the city, because I mean, we're all transplants of Montreal. It wasn't, I mean, when we left, like, I know when I left, it wasn't like, it wasn't great. Like you know what I'm saying? I'll always love this city, but it was like, you felt like they were pushing out. If you had a different set of dreams that was not thriving with that province, you had to go. Or your dream of how you saw yourself was literally going to die before you cross the street. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you had to go. You know, so and I think that it's funny. The Expos was like, kind of like, looking back on it now, it was like a representation of that moment, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And I can't help but ask myself, you know, I didn't want to leave Montreal, right? We left, you know, because of the language police and referendum and all of that. My mom's job left, and we went with it. And I know so many people that happened to. But what's crazy is I can't help but ask myself, let's say the Expos would have stayed. I mean, come on. How much longer would it have been until politics screwed that up anyways?
Right. True.
You know what I'm saying?
Because they would have.
Yeah.
They would have.
Yeah.
They would have. 100%. You know what I mean? Because I mean, and I mean, I know this could be like its own show, but I'll go deeper. Like, you know, being black in, you know, West Indian, Caribbean in Montreal. And it just, like, I remember the back in the days when, you know, when Montreal Carnival was bigger than Carabana, much bigger than Carabana.
Oh, wow. There you go.
And it is like 1,000, it is like flipped. It's like a complete hardened 180 flip. You know what I'm saying? At this stage. Now you bring that up, people are like, yeah, right. You know what I mean? But I remember those days when that was a legitimate thing. Yeah, but then everybody left. Like, there was a mass exodus. Like, I could tell you, like, I'm the last of, like, all of my siblings. I'm the last of 6. All of my siblings by 89 were gone. It was just me. You know, and then by the time I graduated high school, it was like I was next. I was out. Because you can just see, like, if you, like I said again, if you had certain dreams of yourself, and back then, you know, like, I was pushing to be trying to get a scholarship and stuff, that was not happening in Quebec. You know what I mean? Like I said, I know that could be its own series and its own podcast, but like that reflection of that whole movement, of just that whole movement, you know what I mean? Which is sad. Yeah. Because they could have really thrived. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of I mean, so many people left, right, on that, like, 401 route, right? People just, like, exited after graduating college or CJEP or whatever. People just, like, went on down to Toronto, because there, you know, the French was an asset, and then the French could never be good enough in Quebec, right? Like, if you're not, you know, it was always going to hold you back. you had a limit. If you're Anglophone, you had a limit. And obviously, if you're Black, you have a limit. And so I think a lot of people took that same path and saw that, the ceiling was low of where you could go. There weren't as many opportunities. And I think as well, like the referendum had a certain impact on people, on the like finances in general of the province. It impacted the economy in not a positive way. And that led to a lot of people exiting. But to that point, like on this, that also meant like the economy was such that people didn't have that disposable income in the same way to go and support a sports team. They didn't have, they weren't putting people in the seats in that way. You're having it's difficult to like bring in, financial support from the private sector. This province, it's like, it was kind of it was not a great moment for like the economy of Quebec. And then the impact is like, when the economy is not going well, these kind of like things that people generally put their disposable income into are going to also suffer.
Yeah. No, I agree. And go ahead, PJ. Go ahead.
Sorry, Cal. No. Go ahead, brother.
No, I was going to say that I know me and Mambo talked about this, I think last week, about like, when a team leaves a city, it actually kind of scars the city. You know what I mean? Like it leaves a scar on the city. That's like it's almost like you're not. It's like I know there's more important things, of course, in the ways of life, but like when a major sports team leaves your city, it's like you're just not.
Yeah.
You just ain't it. You ain't big enough, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the vibe it puts on you. You know what I mean? And for a city like Montreal, like I always said that Montreal could be. And you guys could disagree with me, but I think Montreal could be, if they lifted some of those laws and those referendums and stuff, Montreal literally could be like a top 10 city in North America easily. From just the 100%. Way of life, for like financial sector, the international flavor. You know what I mean? Like eventually, like it could be so much bigger.
Yeah,
it could, especially when you like when you go down and visit, you're walking around like, yo, this. It's such a nice city. You know what I mean? Like it could be so much bigger, but they stifle themselves by doing that, right?
Yeah, I mean Montreal. I mean, when you go back like in time, like in the 60s, 70s, like Montreal was the spot, like over Toronto. Montreal was the spot to be. It had like a lot of headquarters were in Montreal, and those headquarters, when the first referendum happened, a lot of headquarters left and moved to Toronto because it was like more stable and more guaranteed, and you don't have these political concerns, and that it had an impact, and it slowly eroded over time, and it's been hard for Montreal to recover ever since, the whole time. I think that like look at what the impact it's had, like losing, when you think about losing sports teams like Quebec City and like losing the Nordiques, like that was huge, man. I went to go see a who were they playing? Like I don't remember if they were playing the Rockies or whatever, but like I went to a Rangers game. And man, just buses of Nordiques fans. Like they pick games that they go to, and they'll like come, and they came in buses of them. Just I remember like But like the Nordiques fans were like taking over part of like the Nordiques fans were taking over part of Madison Square Garden for a game, and you can feel like there's a pain there in a city that like lost itself, right? Like these people that like, I mean, I'm not gonna not oversimplify, but like like they're like sports refugees, right? Like they're like they lost their home in a way, and they're like going to find it and literally traveling to find their home and find that place. It's it can have a huge impact on the city, massively. I think if it wasn't for the Habs, that like can you imagine if the Expos, like losing that team would totally crush the city. I think in some ways the Habs end up winning out of that, because people are like, all right, I'm still rooting for a sports team. All that energy, all that feeling, all that emotion, all that disposable income gets thrown onto the Habs.
That's right, because look at Vancouver. They lost the Grizzlies. They still got teams, and Vancouver's thriving, but that's a hit. Seattle, you know what I mean, with the Supersonics, like they're still grieving over that, and it's still a big hit in the city, because that's actually a basketball town. You know what I mean? Look I mean, and recently, look at Oakland. Oakland lost all of its sports teams.
Yeah,
all of them.
Everything.
So everything, and I mean, that is a huge hit to the economy. Like, you lost the Warriors too. I mean, they're just across the bridge, but I mean, that's still a wide gap.
Yeah. It's a different city. It's a different
city. Ain't in your town no more. Like, that's wild.
Yeah.
You know, so that
I think I went to. We went to one of the last games. We went to one of the last games in Oakland, the Warriors game.
Oh wow!
And it was out of control, man. Like, when we left, like, there was police kind of like stopping you from going in towards Oakland, and just like guiding you to the BART, guiding you to the train, and they're just like, just go. It was it's kind of crazy.
Just get back across the bridge.
Yeah. Just get across the bridge.
That hurts Oakland. That hurts Oakland.
Mm-hmm. That hurts Oakland. That's what I mean. It hurts Oakland.
Don't spend your money here.
And there's such good food, and there's such good culture in Oakland. And it's like, you know, you got, like, I don't know, I'm going to throw a number out there, 30, 40,000 people went to see the game. And, like, what percentage of them are staying in Oakland to go spend their money and enjoy the culture there? They're just out.
Yeah.
You know, going across the bridge and going to San Francisco and spending all their money there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And black. Don't forget, very black in Oakland too. Right? Yeah. Like, that shit hurts.
That's the message I'm trying to get to. That's it.
Yep. Yep. No, it's wild. But I think the other thing too of, like, seeing the media, like some of the media types that they feel like, I can't remember all the names, but like some of the media members for the Expos, like watching them still after all these years, excuse me, break down and cry. You know, man. Like, just watching that was wild. That was wild. Like, watching that, it's like, yo, it's been 20 years. You're still wiping tears from that. Because I'm like, you think about it too, right? Like, you got a chance to be a part of a team for how many years? This is like a dream job. You know what I mean? Most people, like, would love to, like, work, especially if you're involved in sports and something. You would love to work for your local team and make good money and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, the team is ripped away, your job is ripped away from you, and it's not because you're not good at your job, it's because the friggin' whole industry left. And they don't want you to come with them. You know what I'm saying? They don't want you to come with you. Like, we don't need you in Washington, bro. We got our own people. Like, we cutting off all the ties here. You know, like, that's tough.
The thing that hit me super hard, because, like, his face was, like, iconic for me growing up, was Felipe Alou.
Man.
Yeah.
And, like, I didn't realize that, like, he embraced Montreal culture so much that, like, he married a woman there. He raised his kids. His kids speak French. He speaks French. He taught himself the language. Like, dude, he was so embraced in that team and the culture that, like, I remember his face more than anybody else's.
The city loved Alou, man.
The city loved him, man. And when they just yanked him off the team and he found out from one of the players, I was like, damn.
Cold.
Damn, that's cold.
I didn't even know
man.
that. Yeah, I didn't even know that too.
I didn't know that either. They did him wrong, man.
They did him wrong, man. And
he's a legend. He's a legend.
You know, one of the things they talked about in the film that I thoroughly agreed with was that, like, and this ain't, like, you know, putting anybody down, but, like, when the new owners came in and they tried to, like, bring in this sort of, like, U.S. culture and U.S. way of operating on Canadian territory with, like, Montreal has a specific culture. And, like, Alou knew that culture. The team knew that culture. Those guys live that Montreal culture. And then you have somebody coming in with a completely different mentality, wanting to, like, deconstruct the entire team and, like, enforce this new way of thinking. And one of the guys in the documentary said it. He's like, Montrealers don't like that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, you know, and then when they did that to Alou, I was just like, wow.
Cold-blooded.
That's crazy, man.
It's I agree with you. It was nostalgic seeing him, though. It was nostalgic seeing Felipe Alou. I was like, oh man, Felipe, like, geez, we actually forgot. Like, it was a nice moment. That, the powder blue uniforms, you know, was it's always nostalgic to me, man. Like, every time I see that, I'm like, even to this day, when somebody's walking past, you're like, damn, you got the powder blue joint too. Like, man,
yeah,
classics.
Yeah.
And and UP.
And UP.
Team UP. I was like, wow, that's cool, man. I remember loving that guy when I was a kid, man.
Yeah.
I know. And he's they're with the Canadians now, right? I think he's with the Canadians, right? I think the Canadians adopted him. Adopted UP, I think.
Is that the case?
I think so. But yeah, no,
that'd be cool. But still, it's not the same.
One of the things that stuck out with me in the doc too was listening to Pedro Martinez and Larry Walker talk, because like it's not so much what they were saying, you know what I mean? Because they were talking nostalgic about the Expos, but you can see in their eyes it was like, this is something that like they still feel remorse over, you know what I mean? Considering the careers that these guys had. Like I said again, Pedro had one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Like nobody argues or disputes that. And it's like a part of them is like, yo, this is unfinished business. You know what I mean? Like we did not So it's like, even though they accomplished everything they accomplished, it was like they recognized it was something special here. You know what I mean? It was their first team, but it was something special here that, you know what I mean? Like they probably recognized later in the Yankees. Like people forget too, like the Yankees were the other team in the AL conference that was I think they were first in the AL. It was the Yankees and the Expos was the top in the NL. We had the best record, but like 95, they blew that shit up. But by 96, the core of that 94 team went on to become, you know, Jeter and all these guys and legends, and you know what I mean? And 3 peats and 5 championships and all that stuff. And it's like, yo, if we just held on tight, we don't know where that could have gone. You know what I mean? So it's like, but it's the thing is when they're talking, they recognize that, like without saying it, it's like they're recognizing like, yo, like even Larry Walker's like, I didn't want to leave. He's like, I'm a Canadian. Like I'm becoming a star in my country. Like, why would I leave here?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool to see, like, they still have that vibe about them where it's like, man, like I didn't want to go. Like Pedro Martinez did not want to go. You know what I mean? And then he went on to become a legend, you know? So it's all that part sucks. But with that said though, I want to get into a few other things before we run out of here. But who do you blame? Who's the most to blame for the Expos demise? Is it the Expos? Is it not the Expos? Is it the politicians? Is it the owners? And what are your thoughts on Jeffrey Loyer and David Sampson? So I'll start with you, Mambo.
I mean, I think the doc does really well is like laying out all the different players and all the different factors that led to the demise of the Expos, right? Mm-hmm. Like ultimately, you know, you can see, you know, Laurier and Sampson and all this kind of stuff, like, right, what Major League Baseball itself did. But like also the fans, like they couldn't get the fans in the seats. Brochu couldn't get the fans in the seats. The new ownership couldn't get it done. They weren't willing to put in the money into it. The government wasn't willing to support a new stadium. Like all these things that came together. It wasn't like, I think the documentary does very well at looking like, sure, at certain moments, certain players play a bigger role in like the ultimate like demise of the Expos. But you can't there's no like one single person where you're like, everything was fine and then that happened and that's it, right? Like it's just the only reason he even Laurier becomes an owner is because of what had happened before, right? Like because it's unsuccessful with the previous ownership, because like Segan, what's his name that wants to get out, the Segan family. Like because all these different people, like we can't make it work financially. Ultimately, it leads to this owner who has no real ambition to keep a team in Montreal and make it financially successful. He clearly, obviously, has some ulterior motives in what he's trying to do, and he made out like a bandit, bro. What? Like he bought the team for nothing and sells it for like he made a nice profit in just 2 years. I mean, good for you that you got one over on these owners. Like just like the way that they got one over on the owners and the local owners. I mean, these guys are like, there's a weird part of me that was watching this, and that judge that made the arbitration decision who's like, y'all are businessmen. You know how to read a contract. You know, like you got done. Like how are you? What am I supposed to be like? This wasn't fair. Like, yo, I thought that was so great.
How are you allowing this?
Yeah, how were you? Yeah. How did you not realize this dude came in with like 25%, only a quarter of the team ownership, and within like less than 2 years, the dude owns like 92% of the team
90%.
and has like full power over everything. You got done, and like, how did you not see that coming? I don't know. They got, I think it's like, and maybe it goes to the point that PJ you were making earlier, which is like this idea of like how business is done in Montreal, Quebec, culturally, what people were expecting, and how this dude came in and just was like Shark Town on these mofos. Like he just like took advantage of them straight up and walked away with the bag and went and turned it into something in the US, like, which is ultimately I think what he probably wanted the whole time, right? We talked about Seattle. The owner who, he bought like they sell what's his name who owned the team in Seattle sells it, and then he's like, hey, but you're not gonna move the team, right? Guy's like, sure, yeah, I'm not gonna move the team, no problem. But like everybody knows the dude wanted to move the team to Oklahoma City the whole time. The handshake deal, and then you can be like, what? He promised me. So, these business, the local business leaders local owners. I mean, anyways, that's a long way of me saying that you can't put this all at the feet of Samson and Jeffrey Loria. Like, you have to like look at all the different elements that all came into play in all this over years, right? That led to the final demise and ultimate falling of this team, which I thought the documentary did a good job of laying out.
I'd say very similar to what Mambo's saying, in a sense that, I mean, for one, the strike didn't help. That's a big hat.
That's a big hat.
For one, big head, big hat. Didn't help. You know what I mean? For one, the strike didn't help. Yeah. That season could have changed a lot. Number two, I think all business parties involved were pretty negligent in a sense that Samson had a stipulation in the contract that if he came to collect cash and all investors who were equally invested didn't want to fork up that cash or couldn't fork up that cash, he could then fork that cash up for them, taking on their stake. I mean, as a business person, to not see that in the contract, to be like, if this guy comes and asks me for $5 million and I can't get it, and he says, who's a millionaire, okay, well, I'll put that 5 million in for you, but your stake is now mine. Like, for you to not see that and sign all of them, like, you can't get mad when he takes the company, when he takes the team for himself. Like, you can't get mad and then sue him, So there's a bit of negligence there that I think that didn't help. Samson pulling the TV rights.
Yeah, that was wild.
Like, that's a major source of, reputability, income, culture, fan base in Montreal. Now people are like, what? We can't watch the game? I mean, on one hand, I can see him trying to drive people away from their television and into the seats, but it didn't feel like that was the motive. The motive was kind of like, I'm going to slowly rip this team away from you guys and torture you. That's kind of what it felt like to me. So, I mean, I think at the end of the day, like, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, or they could pay, like, right? Like, there was the thing was like, come up RDS, pay me the money, pay me this ridiculous amount of money. If they're gonna pay it, then it's like a win-win, right? Like, you either you get to either like you force the city to put up or shut up. Like, that's what they were essentially doing. Was like,
where you at, Videotron?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically.
And everybody was out. Everybody's like, well,
yeah.
So
like, you want how much?
It's really hard to point the finger at one particular person or one particular party, because like they're all equal shareholders in this thing falling apart. Yeah. Some people just did it a bit more abruptly and more ignorant than other people. Some people claim victim and some people were just smart businessmen. I can't get mad at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I blame Montreal, man. I blame Montreal for everything that happened there. Really and truly, between the politicians and the ownership. I mean, anytime you get a 15 group ownership that has equal parts equity in it, that's always that's never going to go wrong, right? Like, like I didn't know all that happened. Like I didn't know that it was to that degree. They're gonna have so many cooks in the kitchen. That's not going to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's always going to be somebody that's going to be shooting down this idea.
Yeah.
Even if it's just to be petty, right?
Yeah.
So it's a bad thing. So it's like I feel like Laurier and Sampson just came in and basically picked the good meat off the carcass. It's basically what happened. Yeah. Right.
There was one line that Laurier said. I think it was Laurier or Sampson, but there was one line that he said. The problem was all of these owners made money, and the government had money available to be put into the team. But instead of putting it into the team, they pocketed the shit themselves. Mm-hmm. And that's a major thing, because the funds were there and the funds could have become available. But when the funds did become available, they went into deep pockets and never found their way out.
Yeah. I will say that was one of the things that was interesting to me that I felt was lacking from the documentary was like the actual numbers. I was very curious about like, what are the actual numbers you're talking about here? Like, what were the actual numbers of the TV deal that didn't, that got cut? Like, what were they making? What were they asking for? Like, you don't get a sense of that. You don't get a sense of like, how much did this team actually make every year? They actually say that the team lost money on a regular, like most years. Money. Yeah, it was losing money. I mean, that's the reason that Seagram family like wanted out, right? Was like because they were losing money, and they was losing money every year. And he was like, "I'm fine to lose." What they say in the beginning, he's like, "I'm fine if we're losing, $1 or $2 million a year." He's like, "I can eat that." Yeah. But like when you're using like $5 to $10 million a year, like this is a cut. This is a cut too deep for me.
You're hemorrhaging.
Yeah, I mean, that's $5 to $10 million a year. That's a lot of money to lose.
And that's 94. Well, no, not 94. Yeah. That's 2000.
No, that's the thing. No. That's 90. Like I'm talking like
that's 90. Yeah, that's the 90, first owner.
That's right. That was 90. That was 90.
Yeah, it's like 1990. So like, you imagine how much money that is in today's dollars. I mean, that's not exact. Yeah, be happy to be at the point where I'm like, hey man, I'm only losing $1-2 million a year. That's cool.
Shit.
What's crazy though is that he bought the team for $15 million and sold it for $120.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Laurier made out like a bandit, bro. Man. That is a nice piece of change he pocketed, man.
You buying a team for $15 million, like that in itself is crazy. You couldn't even think they would laugh you out the room for almost any sports franchise if you try to come with $15 million to buy a team now. Even for a minimal percentage, to be like, "What are you doing? Like, just can you beat it? Like, get out of here."
I want the whole team. Like, fuck out of here.
You got Shea Ohtani getting $600 million, and then what's nuts is that the Dodgers made that $600 million back this year.
Yep.
On jersey sales,
business,
television rights, and
international money. Yep.
I need a lot more than 15 friends if I'm going to go in on the sports team. I'll tell you that much. Get new friends, huh? 3 of us pool our money together. What do you think? I don't know that we could even get a high school team sponsor. Like we'd be like, too much money, man. It's different.
No, but that's the thing. As we know, like, when a marriage breaks down, right? It's never because of one thing. It's always like an erosion at the foundation. By the time you catch it, a lot of times it's already too late. The damage is already kind of done. So it's like, while I don't blame Laurier and Sampson for what they did, at the same time, when you read the stories of what they did to the Marlins after they bought them, and won the World Series and then gutted that team immediately right afterwards, and then they had to sell the team off themselves because they were like hated in Florida after a while.
Yeah.
So it was like at the same time it was like you don't blame them for the Expos, but I mean you kind of sense a pattern, right? Like it kind of is what it is. And then it's funny because like I think David Sampson is a good. I don't know if you guys follow him on Meadowlark Media, like with the Dan Libitard show and stuff. Like he's actually a good. He's really smart. He's actually a good podcaster, but he's a smug asshole at the same time, and that's the image that he kind of brings off. You know what I mean?
Smart image these days to like put off, man. People love to hate.
Yeah, no, for sure. But when you're in media and you're trying to get ratings and stuff, that's not a bad character to have. But when you're trying to ingratiate yourself to a culture and a franchise, it's not really the greatest thing to have that, like radiating off of you out of your pores, right? Like that you're kind of this smug guy that's just going to do what you want to do at the same time.
I mean, it depends what your goals are.
Yeah, that's true too.
Like his goals, like those guys, those are businessmen. They're in it for sports owners are either like they're in it for the business or they're in it for like the passion, right? I make my money. I make my money over here. This is like my playground. I lose money on this team, but I'm passionate about it. I want to make us a winner, like that kind of thing. Like I'll throw whatever money I need to throw into this team to make it like be successful. They're just in it for the passion. And other people like, I need this team to make money, or it can lose money and it needs to lose money in a way that works for me, right? Like, because there are ways that you can run that business and your team will never win, will never be successful, but you will consistently and constantly make money year over year. And that's like you can be that kind of owner. Like that's a business model.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends what people are in for.
A lot of them are still following that to this day. Like that model, right? No, you're right. You're right. But like I said, when you look at Sampson, though, like Sampson's a guy that, like, even with the Levitard show, because Stu Gatz was like the like one of the main, like was a co-host on that show, and he's basically gone from it now because I think Levitard let him kind of like trim the fat on his media company he was building, and he started slashing some shows, which was like, you know what I mean? Which was like some guys did not take that well at all. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yo, like you just getting here, and it's like you came back with that same cutthroat, cold mentality, right? So it's like it works in some ways, but like, it's like it could rub you. Like I said, in Florida, like his name is not a great name. The Laurier family is not a great name in Florida, in the South Florida region when it comes to sports, because they damage so much, right? Like the Marlins are still like an eyesore to this day. But it's weird. To wrap up though, do you guys think the Expos can survive in Montreal if they were to get another chance at a team? I'm kind of interested to hear your points on this. I'll start with you, PJ.
Man, I want to be hopeful.
Say it, PJ. Say the truth. Speak your truth, PJ. You don't got to hold back, man. This is a safe space. You can say what you want to say, my brother.
Yeah, I would love to take my son to a Blue Jays and Expos game. From what I see in the city and the politics and where the game is gone and where Montreal is gone, my answer is no. No, I don't think Montreal could do it, which sucks because I wish they could.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, you need in order for the Expos to work in Montreal, you need a billionaire who just doesn't care about money and is like, I'm just going to sink a ton of money into a team just for nostalgia's sake, and I'm going to try to make it work. But like that ain't
bingo.
That's not going to happen anytime soon. And so, yeah, I'm with you, PJ. It's just like, it'll be great. It'll be cool. I think I wear my Expos gear every time I go to a Nats game in DC. People point at me, but like I'm like, I don't have any Nats gear. We're no Washington Nationals gear. I go to Washington Nationals games supporting the team wearing my Expos gear, like because that's as close as I'm gonna get to watching the Expos play. It ain't coming back to Montreal. It's a shame. Like it would be cool, but it's it's just the financial, like Montreal got left behind financially. Montreal has been left behind, and the kind of money that's needed just doesn't exist there anymore. The kind of support that's needed doesn't exist there, and I don't know. It would be a miracle. We're like playing true fantasy land if we're thinking that could happen, right? Because like I think like where are they going to play? They're going to go play at they're going to play in the Big O. Right. I mean, that ain't. I don't even know what happens at the Big O anymore. Like that's certainly. Yeah, it's like that ain't happening. So like, yeah, I mean, you have to have somebody who's like, I'm gonna build a stadium in order to bring this team back. It's a shame because baseball has like such a storied history in Montreal. Before the Expos, the Montreal Royals were like, famously the team that came, they were the Dodgers farm team, like came and brought up Jackie Robinson. Like that's history. Like major baseball history. Like Jackie Robinson started in Montreal. Like that's the thing, and that history kind of gets lost when we realize that like baseball doesn't exist anymore in Montreal, and in all likelihood will, never really exist there again in the future, and that's a shame.
Yeah, to your point, like totally they got to get like a Steve Ballmer type of owner to come in there and then just invest in the city and private equity, private funds. Like just, you know what? I'm a billionaire. I'm just going to build my own stadium. I don't need the city's money. I'm cool. You know what I mean? Like I got it. Like,
but I don't know. I don't know that kind of wealth like exists in Montreal or like has the ability to exist in Quebec, Montreal. No. Politically, that's the problem. Like financially, it's not like. Yeah, it's unfortunate, right? Because like I feel like for a long time Montreal was a financial hub, was a financial destination. It was like businesses were flourishing there, and a lot of companies were, like we said earlier, a lot of companies were headquartered there. It was a financial capital of Canada, and it lost that through politics. And the situation hasn't gotten much better. And in order to really make it truly like revitalize the city and bring it back, I think it's like it take quite a Herculean effort, unfortunately. So it's not going to happen anytime soon. I mean, I'm hopeful that someday in the future it could happen, right? Because it's a beautiful city and it deserves to be up there. But it's hard. It's a hard road. I love how we're ending this on a positive note. This is a real like nice positive note to leave it.
Real.
The sad part is though. The sad part is that even if that billionaire did exist and did want to bring his money into Montreal, somehow the politics, the taxes, the nonsense would still get involved,
the red tape,
and probably screw it up anyways.
They still got to build hospitals somehow. And then he would just 30 years later. They still need to build hospitals, y'all. Like that calculation still exists.
Somehow 30 years later, the 15 is still under construction.
Still
doesn't carry.
It's an ongoing project. It's any day now. It's going to be completed.
Somebody got that contract. Somebody got that contract in perpetuity.
This contract, yo. Montreal construction. We can do a whole podcast. We can do a whole podcast on Montreal construction.
My God.
It's like, yo, it's a whole.
I mean, we got
game.
the Champlain Bridge. Does that count? The new one? That counts, right? Does it? I don't know. Does it? Does it count?
I mean, things get done eventually. It's just like the astronomical amount of time it takes to get a construction project completed in Montreal is actually quite impressive because it's not. I don't think it's easy to like stall that long and keep something going for that long, and have it break down so quickly soon after too. It's quite a feat.
But to PJ's point, PJ makes a great point. Like by the time that billionaire is done, he's just gonna build a team in Ottawa, just call it the Ottawa Expos, and just be done with it. Like that's eventually what will happen.
Literally.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
that's it.
And it's sad because this obviously is a deeper conversation, just for what we're kind of alluding to. It's a deeper conversation about the politics and everything that's happened in Montreal that's driving so much English and stuff away that like it's stifling this city from the nose down. But like it really and truly the Expos should be they should be similar to the Blue Jays. It should be like a cross province rivalry. Try to get the best players to kind of stay in Canada, and they should be looking at the Blue Jays' success and being like, okay, well, we gotta match this and try to hold that King of Canada throne. Like that's. But the one thing I will say though, and I mean PJ, I know you can kind of attest to this too. like the one thing when it comes to major sports, Toronto just care more and have more money to deal with it.
They got more people.
That's why, but that's why Toronto is where it is. Unfortunately, when it comes to, I mean, it's my hometown. I love it, but I'm like, they care about sports more. Like, you know, it's one of those things. Like outside of hockey, like what team has thrived in? Like what major team has thrived in the city outside of the Habs? Nobody, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the Alouettes, but they're not on a major. They're not
the
on
Alouettes, the Alouettes,
but they're not one of the four major sports.
Think about this.
And then to your point, they got to move to McGill.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like what they did smart was like they had a moment where they were like that team was tanking. That team was getting like they were going down the same road actually as the Expos. I don't know if you remember this moment, but like there was a moment when they were struggling to get like 3,000 people to come to a game in the Olympic Stadium, right? To come and support them. Because you go to a game and the field was so far away from you. The way that the Olympic Stadium is built, you're not close to the players. Yeah. You're not close to the team. You're not close to the action. You know, so like you didn't have the same atmosphere. And the moment they moved there, they went from having 3,000, you know, few thousand fans at a game to having like 10 sold out. Like they have season ticket holders, like all that kind of stuff because it's atmosphere. Like going to sports, I can just watch on TV if I can't be like in it. You go there because you want to be a part of an atmosphere. You want to be a part of a feeling. All the things that come with live sports there in that place. And like they made the decision to make that change and make a move. I mean, like it's the kind of thing the Expos needed to figure out was how to like, you know, rejuvenate the fan base and like build momentum.
They just never did. Like, I mean, Toronto keeps adding teams. Look, they're getting the WNBA team that's coming through here next year, right? Like Toronto Temple. Like this is what it is, man. Like they just care more. They're gonna put more into the sports here, which it infuses the city when you have so much action going on, right? Like I remember talking to this I had this business meeting with this guy from Montreal, like about trying to set up like a web page or whatever, right? And it was so funny because right before the meeting started, I remember he was like, "I'm so jealous of you guys being in Toronto." I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "Because you guys have everything. You guys took everything from us." He's like, "Even the best chefs." He's like, they're grinding down the 401 to go be a head chef somewhere else, and now you guys got all the 5-star restaurants and all this shit and the Michelin stars and shit. And he's like, "And look at us, we're still." Like all our talent is just continue to being exported. It's like I think he even said he's like we're like the Expos. We're still the Expos. You know what I mean? I started laughing. I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
It's rough.
You know?
It's tough.
But it's tough. It's tough, man. Like, so go ahead, Peach.
The crazy thing I was gonna say about the whole Toronto point before we go too far down that is like think about the Maple Leafs, Toronto Maple Leafs, like. They're not the best team, man. They haven't like won in how long? Bro, they're valued at $4.25 billion. They're the most valuable team in the NHL. Think about that. Like that says a lot about like this city and the way that they operate. You don't even have to win, man.
You don't have to win. Just ask the Dallas Cowboys. You'd be like rich. You could be rich. You ain't gotta win.
You don't gotta win
nothing, bro.
You don't gotta win, and you can't even buy a ticket for the Maple Leafs, even when they suck. You can't even buy a ticket, bro.
Yeah, man.
Like
I wanted to go see them when they were playing the Canadiens. I wanted to see the Maple Leafs play the Canadiens in a preseason game, and the tickets were $385 for like
preseason. Wow,
third level preseason.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah, dude. For one, man, I was like, "Come on, now, this is crazy, man."
Yeah,
it's like backs up everything you're saying,
Yeah,
it backs up everything you're saying in the sense that, like, how can Montreal compete right now with that market?
Montreal doesn't have the economy. Montreal doesn't have the people. Like you have, like how many times the population Toronto has, right? That gives you a larger fan base to be able to draw from. that gives you the ability to spread it amongst multiple sports when you have that many people. I mean, Montreal is a city of, I haven't looked up the stats net, but like, 3 million versus like however million you have in Toronto. I mean, like you can't, it's not comparable. It's why Toronto, like when you look at like New York City or the greater New York area can support like 2 football teams,
Canada,
two basketball teams, 2 hockey teams, 2 baseball teams. And you go to those games are
baseball
packed.
teams.
They're full. Like they're full.
Packed.
Because those are like completely different, like in like within a certain amount of catchment area, you just have so many millions of people that you can support all these different teams and it works, right? But they're luckily, you can't afford to go see a Rangers game. I'm gonna tell you, you go see an Islanders game and it's much cheaper. You get tickets way cheaper. You're trying to go to see, like, you have options.
Yeah. Even Brooklyn's got a squad now. Like that's crazy, right? Like, like it's, and those games. I mean, those are probably the cheaper options, but you can still go catch a game. But to your point, like when the Raptors won the chip and we had that parade in 2019, what was crazy is the people like that. I remember one of my cousins was calling up Brian. He remember he hit me up from Miami and he's like, yo, he was at work and had the TV on. He said everybody was going crazy because he was like the multiculturalism that was in the crowd. He's like, he said the people were like, yo, I didn't know this much. It was this multicultural, like, yo, this is crazy. But that also drives business because everybody intertwines and goes to all these different things. Like if the Leafs win, like it's going to look like that too. Right? Like it's gonna look like that. That's the city now, right? And Montreal doesn't, again, that's a whole separate thing. But y'all know what I'm trying to say.
just so we don't get hit up with a bunch of haters. We love Montreal. Yeah. I love Montreal. I love Montreal.
And before I say peace to y'all, shout out to Joel Anthony because he's like part owner of the Montreal Alliance for the CEBL. So I'm wishing him success with that. And he's pumping money back into the city that way. And I love that he's doing that. You know what I mean? I got to get him back on the pod to talk about that because I think that's actually a cool story that he's actually putting roots back into it when people are trying to drive out of it, right? So I think that's
how you got to build it. Yeah, you got to build it with like the smaller market. You got a small market. You got to like build up a fan base like locally. You got to build it like it takes time. It's like if a baseball's future in Montreal, they need a minor league team that's gonna like build a kind of like passion, and you can start there.
Yeah. That's where they should start. That's a good idea. That's where they should start. If we want to get the Expos back to Montreal, start with a minor league team.
Yeah. And then work its way from there and see what happens. But like again, if they're gonna do that, just like blow that Olympic Stadium out twice, not once but twice.
Hey! Be careful.
And then go build a state-of-the-art arena, a stadium somewhere. Whether it's Laval, whether it's Chateauguay, the South, wherever. We don't just build something that people want to go.
Build in South Shore. Look at you already bring up the South Shore.
Whatever. I'm just saying whatever. Wherever you got to go, just build it somewhere where that people want to go and put restaurants and all that stuff around there. Maybe Laval, because I hear Laval's like now is like the new wave. I don't know. I haven't been there so long, but like I hear Laval's a new wave. So that might be an idea to put something there if they ever decide to do it. But I don't know. I guess to be continued, I guess.
Yeah.
But brothers, thank you, man, for coming on this episode and talking about the Expos, man. This is a nice conversation and getting your perspectives on all of this, man. You know what I mean? Because we're Montrealers, so we're always gonna bleed that MTL, but we got to be real with it too.
Appreciate you having me on, man. Let me talk and reminisce and go down memory lane on this, man. Brings up a lot of memories and emotions. So it's been fun. Appreciate you.
100%, man. Thanks for having us, Cal. It's definitely a great conversation, man. Great way to spend the night talking with y'all.
Yeah, no problem. And do you guys want to plug anything before you go? Any shows, commercials, movies, anything, projects, anything you guys want to plug before you go?
Not one to say too much, but I got something that I'm working on in the world of baseball.
Okay.
So look out for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mambo, your show.
I'm at NPR, so like download the NPR app and check out NPR shows. We got lots of shows. I work on a show called The Sunday Story. I'm a producer there. I also host like short episodes on the NPR app, like short news segments and pieces that I like doing. So yeah, check it out.
Okay, no doubt. And if like Jodeci or somebody comes on the Tiny Desk, just hit us up with tickets.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
We can get down there.
If you can get on playing tomorrow, Sixpence None the Richer is playing tomorrow. That like, what's that classic song they have? Anyways, Kiss Me, I think it's called. I don't know if you remember that song from like the 90s, I think. I don't remember. You'd know it if you hear it. If you hear it, you'll know it. It's like the only song I know that I know.
Is it that one?
Don't sing it. Don't do it. No. No. I'll let you know. You know what? The next one I was telling like the person who like organized the Marshall Montana one. I was like, yo, you gotta get Bungie. So like if that happens, I'll let you know.
I'll come down for that. Let me know. I'll come down for.
I'll roll with you, Cal.
Come through. Let's go. Let's make it a thing.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.